Honey, you'll hurt yourself. I can't play tennis, my golf's a menace. I just can't do the Australian crawl. And I'm no better at volleyball. Ain't there anyone here for love? Sweet love, ain't there anyone here for love?
Pear cut or no, rock shaped or pear
square cut or pear shaped. You literally just had it.
I know.
You just
But
turned
you know
on the
how
mic
long-
and you panicked.
Do you know how long I sat here thinking about what the words were before I sang it out loud?
They're square cut or pear shaped.
Should we begin?
Yeah. We're already recording.
Well, I know that.
Yeah, I
mean,
already introduced us.
we did. You did?
No.
No, you didn't. Liar.
Oh my word.
Wait a minute.
Wait a gosh darn second.
Are
you upset that this
not
is-
right?
Square?
Yeah.
It's because it's, for those of you listening, it's because the film is an old flat film. It wasn't filmed in scope. When did CinemaScope happen?
No. That can't be right. That can't be right. I want you to double check this because I swear to God I've watched this in
A widescreen?
widescreen. Like motherfucking CinemaScope.
Welcome to One Foot on the Ground.
Oh yes, this is One Foot on the Ground. This is Ashley.
And this is Johnny. And today we're watching Gentlemen Prefer Blondes.
Do they though? Do they?
1953. And I
Well,
believe
in
that is...
1953 they did.
I believe that's the whole thing. Even though they don't quite bring it up, like, directly in the film, all the men seem to turn their gaze to Marilyn.
Well, but she's also Marilyn Monroe.
Yeah, but Jane Russell
Well,
is
Jane
also
Russell's
a babe.
gorgeous. That face.
It's
Now,
a very good,
We were just
like,
hold
strong
on.
face.
First of all, I want you to look up the facts about this. 'Cause I swear to God, I've watched this in widescreen.
Widescreen.
What year was this? 50 what?
3. Right? Yes, 53.
53? Wow.
Yeah.
You might be right though, because it is kind of
Because
boxed in like that. Howard Hawks. Oh, Howard Hawks. It must be like my brain, because I feel like it's Technicolor.
when
Well, actually, is it Technicolor? Or is this
Technicolor
like
was it started in the 60s, didn't it?
No, it was way before that.
CinemaScope? Am I thinking of CinemaScope?
CinemaScope. Well, it'll say in the opening credits if it's in CinemaScope or not.
Yeah.
Jules Stein and Leo Roth. Okay, Jules Stein wrote Funny Girl.
The music or
Yeah.
the screenplay?
Music. And Jules Stein worked a lot with obviously Barbara, Babby Babs, Babylino, Technicolor. I was right. Technicolor. Can we talk
I might be
about
thinking of
Technicolor?
CinemaScope that started in the 60s. That's widescreen CinemaScope.
Yeah. Well, okay? We should talk about this for a second.
We could talk.
We
Let's
could talk about a
talk.
lot
Let's
of
talk.
things.
Let's talk.
Technicolor is one of the things I want to talk about.
Let's go for it.
It came up, and we also should talk about why films started becoming wider. Do you know why?
No, please enlighten me.
Because the standard format for with a 1.33 to 1 aspect ratio, which is a typical squarish.
You mean this format
Like
here?
this
By the way,
format, right.
CinemaScope started in 1953.
Ha! This year.
It was the lens series was used from 1953 to 1967. Yeah.
VistaVision. I know the very first film in VistaVision was White Christmas. Just a fun fact right there. So, okay, so let's talk about, oh yes, so square screens,
Go ahead.
square shaped. They they started widening the screens in theaters and making them bigger because it was different from the television screen. Because television became huge at this point, and they wanted to have a reason to go to the cinema. So they widened the screen.
So basically, now we have IMAX and D-Box and
like there's
Adobe.
Yes, and 3Ds and all that kind of shit. I mean, it's a gimmick. It's all a gimmick to try to get people to go to the theater.
Right, but now when people think of like the cinema, they think of like a big like performance, like a big show of things. So everything is a lot bigger and a lot better, and like, you know, like people even get so far as to like finding the perfect seat for visual and sound.
Oh yeah, I do that.
Yeah, of course you do.
I have to sit in I like to
get
there
the
early
center back,
get my good, not the back, no.
Center back. So like where the audio would also be
behind me
at its peak for you as well.
Yeah.
Where you'd be perfectly centered for all
kind
that.
Kind of in the middle of the theater.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why movies started widening, becoming bigger, because they were competing with television. Because people were like, well, I can just watch this at home. I don't have to go anywhere. I could watch some show that's on the television. I can't think of one that was on back then.
Laurel and Hardy.
Laurel, there you go. They had movies too, though.
They did.
Yeah. So anyway, so they were competing with that, so that's why they widened the screens. Mm-hmm. And Technicolor was another one, because black and white was, of course, the televisions back then were black and white, so they were like, well, let's fucking colorize this shit. But Technicolor was very specific. Like, Technicolor films are not made anymore. In fact, the restoration of the Technicolor films all happened basically at once, because they had to... How do you explain that? They had to reopen the studio kind of to do it? Does that make sense? Not the studio, but like the whole process of restoring Technicolor films, because it's a 3 negative process, maybe 4, depending on the Technicolor. They had to restore each element and then put it back together like they did back in the day. Like that's how they made the Technicolor film. So you had the red, blue, yellow? No, that's not right.
For primary colors?
Something like that.
Red, blue, and yellow would fit.
There you go.
Maybe a green?
No, because green, yellow, and blue make green, so that wouldn't be
right.
one of them. So, okay. So it would be yellow, blue, and red. And then I think black and white would be one of the elements of it. But Martin Scorsese was actually one of the people that was restoring most of the Technicolor films.
What a fun fact about Martin Scorsese.
Yes, he is a great preservationist of the films. But I'm kind of mad because there are some Technicolor films that they didn't quite fix very well, or even maybe they didn't even restore. I have no idea if they restored them. So when the process ended, they stopped doing the restorations of it, the labs closed down, and they were like, okay, we're done.
What was the last Technicolor movie?
Oh, are you quizzing me? Because I don't know.
Yes.
I really don't know. Oh, wait a minute. No, I don't know. I'm thinking 70 millimeter, but they keep doing that randomly, so.
We're doing 70 millimeter?
Yeah.
Yes.
I think the last one to come out was...
It was after Lord of the Rings.
It was Master and Commander? No. That's The Master. Is that the name of that movie?
The Master?
Paul Thomas Anderson?
Yes, that's The Master.
That
Master and Commander is Russell Crowe?
Yeah, no, I don't think that was 70
no, I thought...
No, the last one that came out...
I.
Last one that came out was actually Dude Face. He loves to do it. Kenneth Branagh, Orient Express, Murder on the Orient Express. That was filmed in 70 millimeter.
Okay.
He likes to do that. He also did his Hamlet in 70 millimeter.
What was that infinity type space one? I think that was also in 70 millimeter.
Oh, really? The one with
it had a weird ending that nobody understood, and I don't quite...
Interstellar?
Yeah.
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen that.
Yeah, I think that was also in 70 millimeter.
That was Christopher Nolan.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, he's interesting with his filmmaking techniques. Like, he likes to do a lot of the IMAX, a lot of the...
He's very big and loud.
Very.
Yeah, he has the
like
the
a lot
horns.
of the Dark Knight. A lot of the Dark Knight was filmed in IMAX.
Yeah.
Which is quite a feat to film in IMAX, because the negatives for that is massive.
Yes.
I mean, like, 70 millimeter can suck it when it comes to, like, IMAX. IMAX negatives are massive. I can't believe how big they are. But,
Explain what negatives are to people listening.
Oh gosh, do people not know what negatives are?
Like, obviously, like negatives in films. So explain what you mean by...
The size?
Yeah.
Well, there's several different sizes. There's 8 millimeter, which is the smallest of the millimeters.
It is.
It's very small. Like, that's the kind that you would typically see, like, educational films for schools usually are done in 8 millimeter. Then there's 16 millimeter, which is the next size up. And those are, I mean, various things are done. And Chasing Amy was actually done in
16 millimeter is more like older home video type.
Yes, that was like a home video camera that you would get for your house. Well, 8 millimeter was too, but 8 millimeter was, they were kind of like it's hard to explain for
like the
kids.
projection screens.
It was like a
the
point and
projectors.
shoot kind of. It had a trigger, looked like a gun,
Yes.
and those were like, you would film.
I have an old 8 millimeter here. Like
Do
an
you
antique
really?
one, yeah.
Oh.
It's not up there.
Oh, it's not.
I just pointed in that general direction.
You pointed.
Yeah, I pointed out a bookshelf that does not have the 8 millimeter camera on it.
So yeah, those were like point and shoot kind of thing. Like the kids in 8 millimeter.
Or in Super 8.
Super 8, there you go. I thought it was called 8 millimeter. Super 8, whatever.
Super 8, they were shooting on an 8
they were
millimeter
using
camera,
8
yeah.
millimeter. But 16 millimeter was like your dad had.
Yes.
The 16 millimeter.
It's more of the camcorder.
Yeah. And then 35 millimeter was standard for most films.
Yes.
And still is, technically, for the most part. And then 70 millimeter. I mean, and these are all obviously based on the size of the actual thing. It's 70 millimeters wide.
Yes.
Like, it's not rocket science, people. So you can imagine how much bigger that negative is compared to the other ones.
Right.
And the 70 millimeter films, there's also a list of those, just like the Technicolor.
Oh, yeah.
And I love 70 millimeter.
It's good.
In fact, there's only 2 Disney films that were filmed. Well, I feel like there might have been later in the years. But the original animated films, there were 2.
Which 2?
Lady and the Tramp and Sleeping Beauty. Sleeping Beauty was the first
Sleeping
one
Beauty.
to be started. But Lady and the Tramp was released before Sleeping Beauty, even though Sleeping Beauty, it took 6 years to make that film. So it was...
Oh, right on.
But they needed money. Let's put out Lady and the Tramp. But so technically Lady and the Tramp was the first one, and then Sleeping Beauty was the second one. But Sleeping Beauty would have been the first.
John, do the frame rates change for these different size?
Frame rate, you mean like frames per second?
Yes, sir.
I do not know.
I think
Do
they
you
do.
know?
I think it goes higher. I think.
Oh, you mean
I
like-
think you can get a cleaner and clearer image. If I'm remembering correctly, a 70 millimeter production, you would be able to capture cleaner, because you could record it at a higher rate without losing much of your light. I believe it doesn't get as dark as quickly.
Oh.
I believe.
I honestly
believe.
don't know that. That's a...
I need to look that up.
That's a
'cause now
fact
I
that
feel
you would
wrong.
have to know. So there's... Yeah, with the... I was going to say something else. 70 millimeter wide, beautiful. Like a lot of the films... But this is the thing. Like when I was talking about how they made screens wider, they did it... Kind of like the IMAX experience, where the screen is fucking massive and you have to move your head. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I might be thinking of specific movies that were
I think you're
by
thinking
25%.
You're thinking
yeah.
of the 4K kind of thing, like The Hobbit was filmed in. A
No.
higher frame rate.
I was thinking of like. There was an old. I'm trying to. I am blanking right now. I am trying to read and think at the same time. I know that there was something that recorded 25% faster at like 75 millimeters. Trying to look that shit up because I am losing all of my movie knowledge, my technical knowledge. So keep talking about your thing.
Well, I was going to say, what was I saying? I don't remember.
We're done.
We're done. We're done.
Let's
podcast is over.
Yeah, like, end it.
We're done. No, so 70 millimeter, what was I going to say about that? IMAX. Oh, yeah, the 70 millimeter films would be like if you went to the theater and they had action on the right and the left, you'd have to move your head because that's how big it was.
Right.
So they were trying to get you to be immersed in the film. That's why the film experience was so exciting in the theater. They're trying to get you to go to the theater to see it. So if you watch something like 2001 A Space Odyssey in the theater, and the action, like there's a scene where they're walking through the space station and they walk from left to right. On TV, you would just you wouldn't have to do anything. You would just move your eyeballs. Yeah. But in the theater, you'd actually have to follow the action across the screen because it was so big.
There was a thing brought out recently, like a 360 screen. Have you heard about this? Have you heard this?
I haven't heard of it, but keep going. I have information.
They did one of the Maze Runner movies in this 360 cinema. Yeah, and so they had to obviously film all the way around so that... Was it 360 or does it like the peninsula, just like the walls in the front? I know that you could you would basically be sitting in the center and like be able to look left and right and see like the other kids in the scene or like reacting, I guess.
Like PhilharMagic at Disney. They have like a screen that kind of like opens up wider and it's a little bit off to the sides. But Disney also has done a lot of things with that kind of film techniques. Yes. Like they've done some of their attractions are 360 films, which is kind of fun. I don't know if they have any anymore.
360 films?
360 films. Actually,
probably
no, they do.
Some sort of thing in like Epcot.
Epcot. Yeah, they do. They have two, I think. They have one in China and they have one in Canada.
I was thinking of Resolution, by the way. The resolution goes up with the larger...
Oh, well, yeah.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. But yeah, 360. But in one of the early World's Fairs when cinema was first starting, they actually had most of these crazy things that are novelties nowadays. Like, they started out that way. Like, I want to say it was there was a Napoleon film done way back in the day, and I can't remember who did it. I have no clue. But somebody made a Napoleon film, and it was basically 360. Like, they filmed it, and if you ever... Some restorations of it will have the different elements, so you can see they project the different parts on different screens around you.
Right.
So, they've had this forever. And that was in the 20s, I think, the Napoleon. There was a few other ones that they had back then at that same... But then it was so expensive to do it, so they just didn't do it.
Yeah, it doesn't...
It wasn't logical.
Like, it wasn't worth the cost.
Yeah. But, you'd have to build those every single...
Yeah.
And it was easier just to have one screen somewhere that was standard size.
Yeah.
But,
Well, now there's VR. I would like to see what... Like... Because games do, like, movies better than movies do games, right? So I'd like to see, like, what VR, like, will eventually become. Whether you can, like, enjoy a film, like, in some sort of gimmick like that. Where it's all around you, like, where you're, like, in the center. Like you would in these 360 screens.
That's like the Salvador Dali exhibit.
Yeah?
They have a 360 Salvador Dali exhibit where it's virtual reality. You're walking...
Yeah?
It's like a film, and you walk through the paintings, and...
Right on.
It's really cool. It's very cool. We're talking so much about Gentlemen Prefer Blondes. It's ridiculous. But it's interesting. This is all stuff that's fun to know. Yeah. If you're a film nerd like we are.
A little bit.
I was going to say something else, too. And
was it about Jane Russell?
No, it was not. I don't know very much about her. I was just saying that earlier. I don't. I really don't. I can't even tell you another movie she's in. Isn't that terrible?
I'm sure.
No idea. Now, Marilyn, I could tell you things. Huh?
Gentlemen Marry Brunettes. Is
that a movie?
That's a movie she was in, yeah.
Well, that's funny. They prefer the blondes, but they marry the brunettes. That's probably true.
Those brunettes are practical. What I really enjoy about this movie...
The handsome men?
There's a lot of handsome men. There's like...
that frame alone that we just saw was like 5 handsome men squished in behind them. I was like, oh
well,
my.
the handsome men follow them.
I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, it's like anytime.
They prefer the blonde, though.
Yes. Well, when they walk through, like, they'll all be pointed at Marilyn Monroe. Like, Jane Russell will come in, and then they're like, ooh, and Marilyn will come in, and they're like, oh. Yeah, but what I really like about this movie is how, like, even in the 50s, like, these two women are, like, self-sufficient and empowered, even though Marilyn Monroe is a gold digger, and Homegirl isn't so much a gold digger, but definitely, like, boy crazy.
She is. There's a whole sequence about that.
Yes.
Which is one of my favorite parts of the whole movie.
All
those men in their little underwear things. It's fantastic.
I think those are gym shorts.
Whatever. Why aren't those still a thing? Because men are
Bring them back. Because they're so
I mean,
insecure.
I've tried. Believe me. I'm out there every day in my tiny little shorts, and I think I just get nasty looks from people.
Yeah. But I love...
Well, sometimes fun looks from people.
But they're still nasty.
Ooh, girl.
Yeah, but they're just best friends. They never betray each other. Like, even when they were, like, whenever things go awry and Marilyn, plays the python and goat game with the one boy, and, like, the guy takes a picture for, not tabloids, for her fiance's father.
Oh, like a private investigator?
Yeah.
Look at that jacket.
They never blamed each other. That jacket looks really comfy. They never, like, blamed each other or anything like that. They're just like, she dates the guy who, like, is investigating her, and neither one gets, like, upset with each other. They just still defend each other. What? No, Marilyn is infatuated with the dude with the diamond mind.
With the glasses.
Yes. What's his name?
Nerd.
She's married to the nerd. The guy who looks like Hawkeye. What's his name?
Hawkeye.
Jeremy Renner. He looks similar to the guy. I love that slide.
I love the men. All of them. Can you imagine being in that room?
With an Olympic sports team for USA?
Oh, jeez.
But look how fun that slide is. I'd be afraid to slide down it, though, because it looks like glass.
Look, it looks like they're not wearing...
It
looks like they're wearing sort of jock straps because they're
nude. They're nude suits. Yeah.
Nude. Well, for a Caucasian person, they are nude.
Yes.
So it looks like they're just wearing these little straps, like right under their butt cheeks. It really quite does. Lovely.
Yeah, no, this movie, from what I could find, is not available in CinemaScope.
So I was wrong. Okay. See, I think I keep getting... Because she has a lot of... Marilyn has a... Now, see, this... Okay, I want to say something real quick. Where are the penises? Because...
It's the 50s.
I know that,
I'm pretty sure they're still applying the Hays Code, too.
Where are they, though? Are they tucking like drag queens?
You can see, look at him. You can look at him hitting the speed bag in the back. You can see his little doodad.
Little doodad. I mean, did they get nothing but men that have tiny dicks for this?
Maybe.
Because
maybe penises were smaller back then.
Is that a thing?
Like, but men were shorter. Maybe they were also shorter.
Butts.
That dude, you could see it.
I mean, come on.
And the guy behind her.
If I were wearing these shorts, I'm going to find these on eBay.
Also,
if I was wearing these, my dick would be falling out the side of these things.
Well,
Look at that guy in the background. Girl, stretch it. God, this is just... Oof. This is like when I try to watch West Side Story. I don't really care for it, but then I keep thinking, God, these men in these tight pants, like, this is fantastic, and they're leaping all around.
What are her earrings?
Dicks?
Those aren't dicks. Those look like safety pins.
That's where the dicks went.
Into Jane Russell's ears?
Look, how come there's... You can't, I mean, you can see up his shorts and there's nothing there. They're tucking like drag queens.
Well, they're probably also wearing dancer's belts under it.
Well, they have to be. Well, I don't know.
So their business isn't bumping around. They have to be modest. It's 1953.
Well, I mean, I don't know why. Why don't you just be naked? Hays Code.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Are we going to talk about the Hays Code?
I mean, we can. I don't know that anything in here applies to the Hays Code, though.
Well, obviously their bathing suits do, although this is very raunchy.
I was thinking that. I was thinking about how...
I mean, this is more like gay raunchy than it is hetero raunchy. Like, right? I feel like only gay men and women would go see this. Like, even back then, like, they would be like, I mean, can you imagine a bunch of men going to see this?
Right.
Unless they were closeted homosexuals. Or, well, I guess you got Marilyn Monroe romping around.
You know what? I think Hays Code might apply to this. Because wasn't there something about,
Marilyn was definitely
like,
around the Hays Code because I remember her having scenes that had to be fiddled with because of the right?
Yeah, like, all right, so you couldn't... The Hays Code is basically what the films followed before the MPAA was a thing and rating movies PG-13 or RX or whatever. So they had to abide by a decency code.
Yes.
By
ooh, it looked like he just kicked her right in the face, and I wonder if that was a mistake and they just left it in.
That would have been cool.
Because it looked like just he kneed her right in the fucking face.
Yeah, and they were like, you know what, it looks good.
And then they couldn't film for like 2 weeks. So she had
because she was swollen.
Hays Code. No,
but no, a woman, like, all right, you couldn't talk about infidelity, I want to say. Or they couldn't...
Well, they still shouldn't talk about infidelity is bad, people. Don't do it.
You couldn't, because in this movie, Marilyn Monroe is engaged to that dude, and you couldn't do stuff without consequence. So she was flirting with the Diamond Mines dude, but then she, like, the guy eventually, like, broke up with her. Hold on, I have to look up the actual code.
Yeah, look up the code and see what years, because Marilyn films were definitely in the middle of the Hays Code.
Right.
Like the years that spanned her films.
Mm-hmm.
And the Hays Code, can we talk about it?
Yeah, we can talk about it. We can talk about it.
I mean, like...
We can talk about all of it. Yeah, we can talk about...
Why our
podcast is named after a Hays Code.
A Hays Code, yes. Yeah. 1 foot on the ground.
Yeah.
So when there's a love scene...
or any bedroom scene.
Well, bedroom scene.
Yeah.
Well, actually, no, I think a sofa applies too.
Oh, really?
Yeah. If she was... Because there's a film specifically where I feel like it was Marilyn. I tried so hard to find the image of her. I want to say it was from How to Marry a Millionaire, I think.
With a foot on the ground?
Yes. And I was trying to use that for our picture for the line, but I couldn't find the actual moment, and I didn't feel like scanning the whole fucking movie.
I think Postman Always Rings Twice was the first movie to, like, effectively break, like, a bunch of Hays Codes.
Yes, I believe so. And it was funny too because that was when it was 42 that they broke the Hays Code.
I think so. I think Postman was
oh, then maybe Marilyn's films weren't. Well,
it was enforced seriously in 1934.
Oh, then I'm thinking of. You know what? I'm thinking of. It's not Marilyn Monroe. I'm thinking. I was watching the wrong fucking movie for our image. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking of Mommy Dearest, Joan Crawford. It was a Joan Crawford film where she was like laying on the sofa, and the guy was like kneeling next to her on the ground, like he wasn't on the
couch
sofa with her.
Yeah,
and he was kissing her, and also kissing was like a thing.
Yeah,
you couldn't kiss for longer than 3 seconds?
Yeah, it was
something
absurd. They couldn't, a man and a woman couldn't have a single bed either. Even if they weren't sleeping in it, you couldn't depict like one bed for the couple. They had to have two twin beds.
Myrna Loy and Powell. Michael Powell? Is that his name?
That sounds like a name, but I don't know.
The Thin Man series. One of my favorite film series ever.
Unfamiliar.
Oh, God, you need to see. I own them all. Of course I do. There's only one that I don't like. It was The Thin Man Goes Home. It was terrible. Absolutely terrible. It was done during the war. And of course, there was like a ration on alcohol and stuff like that. So they gave him the reasoning of going home to see his family that he wasn't drinking, because they drink a lot in those movies. Like, they're drunk through half the damn movie, which is one of the best parts about it. Like, it's hysterical.
Oh, it was from 1934 to 1954.
What, the Hays Code?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, so this would have been in it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But it was broken.
In 1968, it had minimal enforcement, and then it was replaced by the MPAA.
I remember listening to something about the last film. It was basically what happened with the film was the one that broke it was that they wanted it to be released within a certain amount of time, and they didn't have time to have it go through the process of being screened or reviewed for the Hays Code, so they just fucking put it out. And they were like, well, we're putting it out without a rating. Just gonna do it. Like, here, this is not approved. And then it was so massively successful, like the box office was huge for it. So other studios were like, well, fuck that. We're not gonna put ours through the Hays Code either. We're gonna fucking do what we want. So basically, free for all. Let's all make these movies.
All these indecent movies came out
where people kiss for more than 3 seconds.
Oh
my gosh. But I loved that they were getting around the Hays Code. You know what I mean? Like, they would always have like weird things. Like Alfred Hitchcock was great with his, because he'd have people kiss for 3 seconds, stop for a moment, and then kiss again, and then stop for a moment, and then kiss again. You know, like, they kept doing it off and on. So technically they were kissing for longer, but they would just pause. I thought it was brilliant. Isn't it funny to think about all that kind of stuff like that? I mean, nothing applies these days. We've got fucking actual sex in movies these days.
Whoa. I hate, unofficially, the MPAA. No. Do you remember...
Well, no, I mean, I don't...
Do you remember It's Complicated?
It's complicated.
The movie It's Complicated with Steve Martin and the gorgeous Marilyn Monroe. Not Marilyn Monroe, Meryl Streep. Marilyn Monroe is
complicated.
It's Complicated.
Was that... Wait. Did that have, Alec Baldwin? Was he in that too?
Yes, he was.
She had a bread shop or something, right?
Yes.
Is that the one?
Yes.
Yeah, I like that movie.
Yeah, did you know that movie's rated R?
Is it really?
Yeah, you saw that movie? That movie's rated R, sir. You know why it's rated R? There is one particular scene where she's at her daughter's party, I want to say, and her and Steve Martin go into a bathroom and smoke weed. They don't say it's weed. It's like a marijuana cigarette. It's like a joint, and it looks like it could be just a cigarette. But they smoked weed, and then they they laughed and had a blast, and they went to the bakery or whatever that Meryl Streep owned, and they baked and they had a good night, and that was it. So they used drugs and had zero consequence. That's why that movie was rated R.
Are you serious?
Yes. It's ridiculous. Meanwhile, there's
they should break the MPA. Somebody should just do it. Like, don't even put it through. Well, actually, they do that, don't they? This film is not yet rated.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This film is not yet rated. Yeah.
Well, no, they tried just in general.
Well, that film tried to figure out who they were, because apparently the MPAA, the people who run it,
it's like a big complex somewhere, isn't it?
Yeah, and you can't know who they are or anything. I don't know.
Well, because they'd probably be attacked badly.
Yes. Yeah, but it's also
I wouldn't want to.
But it's also the things that get rated R versus rated X. What were the two movies at that time? I'm going to say it's Black Swan with Natalie Portman and Mila Kunis, right? Uh-huh. They had that sex scene, but it was weird and creepy or whatever. Yeah. So Black Swan got a rated R. But I think Black Swan did have struggles and got X at first, but was able to get rated R, even though Mila Kunis is wiping her face. Yeah.
X.
Like NC-17.
Oh, yeah. Well, NC's... Yeah. I'm thinking. Oh, yeah.
You're thinking
X? Really?
Are they not interchangeable?
But NC-17. Okay, yeah. I get you.
And then Blue Valentine.
Oh God, I hated that movie.
That was with Ryan Gosling, right?
Yeah.
And the sex scene with them where he goes down on that lady, but her orgasm was too long, and like I don't know, like a lady can't have like a good orgasm, and so it was rated NC-17.
Interesting.
Yeah, and so like little things like that, like the MPAA is also like
but
homophobic.
Well, I mean, aren't they though?
Yeah, no, because and I think that's what that film was about. Like who are these people, and why do some things pass and other things don't? Like you can say shit 16 times or whatever.
You can't say fuck twice. I think you can say fuck
in a PG-13 movie.
In a PG-13 movie, but more than 2 fucks. You're an R city. You're
R.
And it's funny too because if you ever watch Galaxy Quest, they do say fuck. I think. Well, they have to have used their allotted fucks because there's a very obvious fuck that Sigourney Weaver says, but they dubbed it to say screw this, and it's when she sees the chompers or whatever in that scene, and she says fuck this, but they dubbed it so
that
it says
movie
screw
is so
this.
good.
I fucking love that movie.
It's so ridiculous. I love it.
God, I love that movie.
Yes.
And Sigourney.
I would argue to say that it's Alan Rickman's best role.
Alan. Well, no, yeah, he's good. I like Alan Rickman. I love that he had the damn thing on his head
the whole time.
Like, even when he was at home and he just took a shower, and he had the towel like wrapped around his neck or whatever, but he still had that fucking thing on his head. But then towards the end, it was like hair was starting to come out of it. And stuff
like it was peeling back.
Oh God, it was great. God, I love that movie. And Sigourney. I mean, I love Sigourney. I love her.
She's great.
I mean,
Ripley, great.
Oh God, I love when she's going through the air ducts in Galaxy Quest, and she's like, "Why is it always air ducts?" So good. She got to play the computer, the ship's computer in WALL-E. She's the voice of the computer.
I knew that.
And I thought that was hysterical.
Who says I didn't?
Because, obviously, Mother in the Alien movies.
Yes.
I just thought it was great that she got to be the computer, finally. I'm going to fuck with y'all, too. Ha ha! Just like that computer from the Alien movies. So now everybody knows why we're called One Foot on the Ground.
Yeah. It's a reference to the Hays Code.
Yeah.
Some fun stuff.
Absolutely.
Some fun stuff.
So...
Go ahead.
Marilyn.
Uh-huh.
I recently watched a whole bunch of her films.
Did you?
Yes.
Because we were watching this movie,
no,
or just that a coincidence?
Coincidence. I mean, but this is like a couple months ago, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I watched a slew of her films because I had listened to a podcast about blondes, blonde bombshells. It's a podcast called "You Must Remember This." I don't listen to all of it. I pick and choose because sometimes I just don't give a shit. Like there was a whole section on the Charles Manson murders and everything, and how it related to Hollywood, and I was like, that's a bit of a stretch, ma'am, to do a whole series. I know it was a long fucking series. I'm sorry, I shouldn't disparage this poor girl because she does a lot of good work. She's really incredible. You should definitely check out her podcast. But I just particularly like to pick and choose.
Keep going. I have a fun fact.
Ooh. Oh, well, I was just... I mean, I was like, talk more about Marilyn. But
keep going with Marilyn.
Well, no, but you have your fun fact.
Yeah, it was like you were saying that you remember this in widescreen, but Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend, that number was reshot in CinemaScope.
Really?
Yeah.
I wonder if that's what it is that I'm thinking.
It might be. Like, you may have seen, like, even just in clips, because Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend is, like, such a popular song. So many people have redone it.
Oh, we're going to talk about that. Because
we're going to talk about what?
To talk about. But yeah, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
Yeah, it was reshot in CinemaScope to be used part of the demonstration held on the Fox lot.
Look at that.
Yeah.
That is a fun fact.
That is a really fun fact.
So I definitely have seen that in CinemaScope.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Just the musical bit.
Well, yeah.
I wonder if it includes Jane Russell's reprise
this.
when she's in the courtroom.
Oh, I don't know.
When she does, because I really like Jane Russell's voice.
Her regular voice or singing voice?
Singing voice. I think her regular voice is fine too.
Well, I mean,
you know what? Her regular voice is fine too.
that guy's cute. Oh, cute he's in this.
He's not a tabloid. The Dick, the private eye.
The private investigator.
Yeah.
He's cute. He's been in other things, I swear. I'm sure. He's probably super famous. You know, just like everything else. Like poor Toby Hooper. I'm like,
I was like, we should watch that movie. We should watch Texas Chainsaw. Really?
Yeah, no, I've never seen it.
I have a weird
thing about. Yes, I've seen that.
Okay.
I have a weird thing about those kind of movies. I don't dislike them.
Right.
But I don't prefer them. I don't prefer blondes. I actually don't, actually. What? Oh, I just made all my goals.
Oh, look at you go.
Anyway.
Sitting down and drinking beer.
Sitting down, drinking beer, making my goals on my watch. I love that. Movies, you know, like horror films with lots of dismembering and sawing off limbs and cutting off pieces, and it's just not my thing.
I wouldn't say the 1974 Texas Chainsaw. I wouldn't say that had a lot of it was pretty graphic. I mean, he hangs people on these meat hooks, but it wasn't. But it's in the 70s, so it's also done the way the assumption of Alfred Hitchcock. He gives you enough for you to just use your imagination.
Mentally put it in there.
Yeah. But something that tore me apart in that movie was that at the end, these people were having dinner with they were eating her friends, and homegirl's just strapped to a chair and screaming the whole time. The only reason she gets away is because she's not she doesn't outsmart them or anything. They made a mistake in tying her ropes, and she runs away.
Huh. And folks, now we go to the intermission of this episode. Newsreel. Hollywood stars.
Sounds of the 40s.
This is where we're going to take a little break. So you guys join us next week with part 2 of Gentlemen Prefer Blondes. Beep, boop.